Are you growing your own parsley? I sure hope so. And if you are, you should be harvesting your own parsley too, and that's what we're gonna do in today's video. Hey there, my name is Nicole Burke, and I am on a mission to get everybody in the whole world growing a kitchen garden. So today we're talking about parsley. It's very easy to grow. It's an herb. Some people call it an herb. I call it an herb. And I actually have curly parsley that I'm going to be harvesting from today. Now, I know there's a great debate. You guys can tell me in the comments. Are you team curly parsley or team Italian flat parsley? My clients with Rooted Garden, almost all of them are like, we don't like curly parsley, but I love it. I think it's so good and crunchy in a salad. And the flat Italian parsley, when I put that in a salad, it just is too soft. But this is like an extra crunch. And believe it or not, there's like a ton of vitamin C in parsley, which I think is so awesome. So parsley is in the carrot family. Most people don't know that, which means the plant actually has a tap root and it loves cool season. So I put this parsley in way before we were out of our threat of frost. And as you can see, the plants are doing so awesome. I also love growing parsley on the corners of my beds because parsley is a plant that can get pretty tall, especially as it starts to get older. These leaves and stems are going to get longer and longer. So it's a great one to grow kind of in the center or in the corners of the bed because of its growth habit. When I first started growing parsley, I had no idea how much parsley one plant would provide. I think I grew like 10 or 15 plants. Anyway, suffice it to say, by the end of the season, my kids and I were walking around the neighborhood handing out bunches of parsley to all of our neighbors. They were like, thank you. I was like, what, you're not excited about parsley? What's wrong with you? So parsley, you definitely want to put it into the garden in either the spring or the fall. I would not put it in the middle of summer. You might have some success, but you'll have way more success if you put it in when the temps are cooler. So I'm talking like below 75 degrees is the high. It will put up with frost. So I've had parsley snowed on and frosted on, and it just actually turns more green and is fine. In fact, when I went back to Houston to see our clients' gardens after the big frost they had this year, parsley was one of the greens that was still flourishing in everybody's gardens. So I want to show you in today's video how to harvest it. It's very similar to harvesting lettuces or greens because you're going to go to the outside of the plant and harvest the lower outside leaves. I like to go ahead and go to the base of the plant when I'm harvesting parsley rather than just harvesting the leaves. So this is really what we want to harvest. But I like going down here and cutting at the base like this because it's not really going to regrow from the tips. So when I do this, it really encourages more growth from the center of the plant. And I found it's honestly also easier to deal with in the kitchen when I have a little bit of stem here. So I'll cut right here, just like that. So just like that, and then I can bring this inside and trim it up, or I could do a whole, garnish or something like this with the stems included. So this is all I got just from one plant. I've actually got 4 plants that are growing here. I love using parsley for lettuces, for salad in my kitchen, and then I also love making tabbouleh with it. So you could harvest a ton of this. Also for like a garnish for a soup, or just a topping for like if you're having just typical spaghetti night, something like that. I love, just tossing some fresh parsley on what otherwise looks like, you really didn't put much effort into dinner. I feel like if I can put some fresh parsley on the side, my kids will usually eat it. They'll usually munch on it just kind of as a joke because they think it's interesting. And then I know they ate at least one green thing at dinner that night, if you know what I mean. So I do like to have 3 or 4 plants so that I'm not harvesting too much at once. I would prefer not to heavily harvest too much off of one plant. So by having these 4 plants all kind of broken up amongst each other, I can come in, harvest a little bit from each plant anytime I want some parsley, but I don't have to overly pull from any one plant. Now, parsley is a biennial, which means it is not going to go to seed until its second year in the garden. So if the weather is optimal, what you'll have is you'll end up with these plants that will last through winter. Now that doesn't happen for me here in Chicago because it gets too cold. The bitter cold does kill back the plants, but in Houston for our clients, their parsley goes and goes and goes. Like we have had parsley trees that are so phenomenal. So if you're in a more temperate climate, you're gonna be able to have parsley all year long, which is so awesome. So that's how you harvest parsley and a couple of ideas of how to use it in your own kitchen garden. And hopefully you'll try out the curly parsley. Have I convinced you yet? It's so delicious, so nutritious, and I promise you're gonna like the crunch. I've personally found too that these plants tend to not have as much pest or disease issues as sometimes the flat Italian parsley does. I have flat Italian parsley too, don't believe me, I like both, but I'd love for you guys to try the curly. All right, let me know if you're a team curly or team Italian flat leaf down below in the comments. And we have a whole course called the Herb Garden Guide that can teach you every single step of the way of growing your own organic herb garden. And you can find out more about that right below this video too. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in your parsley next time. Bye.